how do I know if I should get a cost seg study done? I have two long-term properties valued at 130K and 211. Um, the number one question when you have a cost segregation study is looking at the math. It doesn't matter. Everybody's talking about cost segregation study. If you have a property that is valued at about $130,000, you have to understand what cost segregation study does. It breaks down the property. Why does it break it down? Well, it breaks it down for the main reason that the IRS has like there's some, it's an arbitrary picked time frame. They said if it's a residential, you have 27.5 years to recoup the cost. So if you bought it for 100,000 or for a million or for 10 million for what's worth, like you have the exact same time frame to recoup the cost. What does that mean? Even if I pay cash, okay, for this piece of property, I cannot deduct more than what this arbitrary picked table lets me deduct. So if I spend $100,000 to buy this property, I buy it cash. Even though I buy it cash, I can't take it as an expense. I can only take 1/27th, percent of it year one. So what a cost segregation does, it actually splits the building saying, okay, what's the actual foundation? What's the main frame of the building? What are all the other things that could be considered like improvements, like the roof that has a lower life? It has probably a 15-year life. Now we have land improvements. I put irrigation. That's not going to be 27.5. I have to put all these other things like I might have plumbing, I might have windows, I might have all this cabinetry, appliances, all those things that are not part of that 27.5% or year life. So for a property that is so low, it is rarely enough to be able to do a cost segregation study. Rarely enough. Now, because you have land. Now, even if you buy it in, let's say, I've seen Michigan with some ridiculous, like $1,000 land value or $2,000, and there's many states like that. So even if like you take the land value, it's rarely enough, right? So what I have seen where it may make sense on the math is somewhere around, close to 400,000 if it's a newer build. If it's a very old house with a very high land value, it's not worth it. So I know it's going to be very hard to answer this, but I'll tell you one thing. You got to do the math. If in your math, what do you need to know? When I say, well, should I do a cost segregation study? Well, number one, I don't know if you can deduct it or not, depending on what kind of income you have. But even if you can deduct it, you're looking at, okay, what's my land value, right? So out of the 130, if my land is 30,000, I only have 100,000 left. Rarely makes sense because you're not gonna save enough money to cover the cost to do the cost seg. And the lowest cost you will do a cost segregation study would be probably about $1,000 for a lower end property. And it could go, 5,000 plus depending on if it's a commercial property. So, on the question with the cost segregation study for 130,000, rarely worth it. Now, what you can do when I have multiple properties, I can group my properties. I can group multiple, and now I can take a larger deduction because now instead of having 130, 100, 100, now together I might have a 500,000 group, which is gets treated as one.